want to tell you guys a little story of how I stumbled into the rooms of the 12-step program. I came in because I had my third DWI. And when I came in, y'all, none of the other women were saying that they had DWIs. I would be the only one in there that would raise my hand. And, when they would talk about DWIs, it usually would be the guys, the men in the rooms. And I would feel so ashamed because it was, I don't know, you know how most of us don't want to be different. And I really felt different when I would be the only woman. And I felt resentment against them as well. But I had to come to realize that, you know what, that's my story. I can't change what my story was, but I could use it to help others. And with this podcast, guys, I don't want to always talk about the pretty part of it. I don't want it to be about me always being in makeup and me looking like I got it all together. I really don't. I don't have it all together. I do the best I can. Some days are better than others, but everything about me, my life ain't perfect. I use my 12-step tools a lot, and sometimes, some days I use them more than others. But the reason I'm doing this podcast is because I want you guys to see some of the struggles that I go through and some of the struggles that I went through in order to get where I am. And, sometimes I'm in fear that I'm not doing it right. And that's when I have to reach out to my higher power and ask for direction. And back to when I came into the rooms, and there wasn't a lot of women that even looked like me. And I'm not telling you guys this because I want your pity. I can't stand that, y'all. If you listen to some of my podcasts, you'll hear me say a lot, I don't do that crying shit because pour me a drink, and that's not what this is about. I need to go through some pain in order for me to get where I needed to be at, which is sober. And by the grace of my higher power, I've got 13 plus years now, and I'm really grateful for that. But when I came into the rooms and the other women, nobody would raise their hands, and I would feel so ashamed. And I had got one DWI after another one. Even before I had went to court and settled that first one, I got a second one, then I got my third one. And the ugly thing about it, y'all, was when I got my third DWI, I was on 75, and I had just went to South Dallas, and I just picked up a rock. A rock is it's a crack cocaine. I had just picked that up. I had been drinking, and I'm in a hurry, y'all, because I got to go home and I got to hit my shit, right? So I'm driving really fast, and I'm in the zone. I'm not even thinking about what's going on around me. I got one thing on my mind, and that thing is, is hitting this crack. So there's a car that comes in front of me, and I try to avoid hitting it, and I hit the wall. And once I hit that brick wall, my SUV, it flips over, and, I'm bleeding. I got weave all over 75, and I am a hot mess. And of course, someone calls the police. They call the police, and they call the paramedics, all this stuff. And my first thought is, guys, you just need to let me go. Let me go about my business. I'm not hurting anyone. But I got to go back a minute, y'all. The crack cocaine I had with me, I threw it over the wall. And anyway, they wouldn't let me go. So I'm crying, I'm bloody, and, and they want to give me a test to see whether I'm drunk. And of course, I'm telling you guys this in a really in a way that it didn't happen, because believe me, I was cursing. I was like, let me effing go. And, I was a hot mess, y'all. And when I look at those tapes today, when I looked at those tapes back in the day when I was going to court, I was so ashamed of the way I was acting. But, they didn't let me go. And I ended up in the rooms of the 12-step recovery, because I wanted the judge or whoever, to see that, well, at least I'm going to this program and have some pity on me, right? So I started going to this 12-step recovery program even before I got sentenced to, by the judge. And when I did appear before the judge, she did tell me that I had to go to these rooms for 3 times a week. And I had to find me a judge, a lawyer, y'all. And this first lawyer, he ripped me out of my money. I mean, he didn't do what he said, and the judge was telling me that I was going to spend 15 years in prison. And did that frighten me? No, not really, because I didn't take her serious. I was thinking, I'm not going to jail. But when it came time for me to go to court and appear in court, that's when I got it. That's when the light bulb went off, and it's like, oh, holy shit, I can go to jail for 15 years? That's a long time, right? So I started sharing that in the rooms and getting all that fear out. And the people in the room started telling me, don't make the judge or anyone else bigger than your higher power. You need to pray about it and, ask God to direct you and show you what you need to do. And that helped me a lot, y'all. That helped me to get through some of those court dates that I had to get through. But I did end up spending 10 days in jail. And I have to tell you guys, those 10 days were really hard. It was like I was frightened. The little times that I had been in jail it was like maybe an hour to maybe 14 hours, not a whole day, right? But it really frightened me. I wasn't used to the environment, but it was a wake-up call for me. I don't like this. I don't like not being able to take a shower in private. I don't like it. It wasn't a good experience for me. And today I'm really glad, because if it was a good experience for me, y'all, I would have kept on drinking and drugging and doing whatever it was that I was doing, because I would have found it to be easy for me to get through. So I did my time, so to speak. Look at me, I'm a criminal. I did my time. But no, I just want you guys to know that, sometimes I know for me, I have to go through things that are really uncomfortable in order for me to learn a lesson. And that is exactly what happened there. And even with this podcast, I don't know what lesson I'm learning here, but sometimes I get in fear even with doing this, because I can get in my head and think, well, I'm not as polished as most people. I don't speak as well. And all that stuff is only my fear to hold me back. The main thing is what I want this podcast to be about and to hit home with people is this disease will kill us. Alcoholism is a disease that is so cunning and baffling that it would kill us, and it tells us that we need it because I am only comfortable when I'm drinking. I'm only comfortable when I'm using. It's such a cunning and baffling disease that it tells us that we really need it. And that's what I want this podcast to be about, to let people know that you don't have to suffer alone, that there's other people out here like myself who know exactly what you're feeling and what you're going through. So I hope that helps someone, and We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.